watching videos from other YouTube channels, and that is a TBR, prompt jar. So we're gonna be deciding what books I read in July based on some prompts that I pull out of what is actually a vase, because I wrote too many to fit into a jar. I got a little bit excited. So yeah, I kind of was a bit skeptical that I would enjoy or want to do one of these videos, because I am generally kind of a mood reader, but I do create a little spreadsheet with monthly TBRs at the start of every month anyway, so I thought I'd have a bit more fun doing it this way. So we're going to pick up five books. There are a couple that are not on here, which I will post a little image of, because they are elsewhere in the house and I can't be bothered to go get them, frankly, now that I've remembered. So we have The Earthsea Cycle by Ursula K. Le Guin, random propaganda, power and persuasion, coffee table book thing, and The Language of Trees. So they are also on my TBR. So I have actually rearranged my bookshelves and we're sitting right in front of them. So we have these two shelves, so all of these books here. There is a lot on here at the moment. I did go a little bit crazy in the last couple of months, so I would say this is not usual to have so many books, but that is why it's good to be doing this video. So anyway, let's just get straight into it and pick out our first prompt. Okay. And we're starting off with 5-star prediction. A book that's gonna be, I think, 5 stars. This is actually maybe one of the more difficult prompts that I put in there, I think, because I realised I'm actually a very, very harsh rater. I recently was doing my unpopular opinions and talking about rating inflation, but I actually think I have the opposite problem, where I'm a little bit too harsh maybe, because I don't think I've actually given anything 5 stars yet this year, and I've read over 30 to 40 books, and to me a 5-star prediction is really something that, or a 5-star book is something that's kind of going to be on my top list, top books of all time. So that's a really, really, really high bar to be setting, and honestly, I just don't know that I would suggest any of these are really going to be 5-star. Not to say that I don't think I won't love them, but I'm quite critical, so I'm just going to go with what I think might end up being the highest rated of all of these books. God, this is difficult. So he meets an old flame, and then they end up on a load of kind of madcap adventures, as would be typical with Iris Murdoch. So, okay, first book that's gonna go on my TBR is Under the Net, Under the Net, Under the Net, which is super exciting. Also, apologies, there is building work going on next door, so there may be some loud noises in the background, but I'm not gonna vent about that on here. Basically, I just have to film anyway because of opportunity, and they go on till like 10 o'clock at night, so yeah, it is what it is. Prompt number two, and I have forgotten if I said we're gonna do 5 prompts, so let's pick the next one. What does this say? Okay, sci-fi or fantasy. I have got a few on here, not that many, I would say. The Earthsea cycle that I mentioned is upstairs. That is definitely one of those genres. Parable of the Sower, again, sci-fi, so that one definitely is calling to me. We have The Raven Scholar, which I was kind of saving for more autumn times, but I do believe that might actually be set in the summer, although it is humongous, which kind of makes it a little bit scary. Belladonna is definitely fantasy, I would say. Shadow and Bone. Alice by Christina Henry. The Stand by Stephen King, I think is kind of sci-fi. Probably Assistant to the Villain. This is definitely sci-fi. This is Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. Hooked, I would probably say that's not actually. So yeah, there's quite a few to choose from. I feel like it's gonna be between Roadside Picnic, because I have had this on my TBR for so long, and Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. So we have a sci-fi and a fantasy. This is actually one I got quite recently, but I really want to read Six of Crows, and this is in the same universe, but it kind of comes before Six of Crows, so I did want to read this. What do I feel like? This is so hard to choose. How about we look at the first line of each of these and see what sounds most interesting. So the first page on Roadside Picnic I can see is interview based, so this is clearly going to be mixed media. It says an excerpt from an interview with Dr. Valentine Pillman by a correspondent from Hartmut Radio, and then it just says, I suppose that your first important discovery, Dr. Pillman, was the celebrated Pillman Radiant. So yeah, I don't know, make of that what you will. And for Shadow and Bone, our first sentence is a prologue. It says before, and it says, the servants called them Malenchki, little ghosts, because they were the smallest and the youngest, and because they haunted the Duke's house like giggling phantoms, darting in and out of rooms, hiding in cupboards to eavesdrop, sneaking into the kitchen to steal the last of the summer peaches. Okay, this one was entirely random, and despite it being on my TBR the longest, do you know what I think? This one is gonna call to Okay, so I am currently reading a couple of books, but the book that I would say is like my main read is, well, there's War and Peace, which I'm very close to finishing finally, but then The Ruins by, I think it's Scott Smith. So we could go with S or we could go with E. I don't know how many of each we're gonna have. I think I'm tempted to say E from War and Peace, but that means I could read Elena Knows by Claudia Pinheiro, or it's possibly Claudia Pinheiro. If we ignore the, I could do The Stand, or I could do well, The Story of Witches, but that definitely feels like a October kind of read. I just would have thought there were loads of books that started with S, but actually, okay. The Secret Life of Bees, if we ignore that, would definitely count, and this is definitely a summer pick. So, I think, do you know what? I think maybe I'm gonna go with The Secret Life of Bees and put Elena Knows back. So this is about a girl, and then I think essentially they have a servant who gets into trouble or something happens and they have to kind of run away together, and they end up going to this place where they have I think there's some nuns or something that keep the bees, so they kind of find a sanctuary there. And I just think it's kind of probably going to be like a coming of age kind of story set in a real summer environment, kind of exploring themes of racial inequalities and injustices, and things like that. So, and I've heard really, really good things about this book. So, for book number three, let's go with The Secret Life of Bees. So we are down to our penultimate prompt. Let's pick this one. Okay, oh dear. This one says predicted tearjerker, which, do I want to cry in summer? To be honest, I feel like I've been crying a lot over books in the past couple of months, and I don't know whether maybe it just doesn't take that much to get me going. The Secret Life of Bees might actually even do it, but Blue Sisters is something that has potential. I feel like I think that's about some sisters dealing with grief and loss in the family. I think maybe it's one of their other sisters has passed away, and it kind of follows them in their journeys of grief and coming back together again. I don't know, it's so hard to know, isn't it, without knowing what these books are like really about, because I feel like, I don't know about Elena Knows, but this is also about a woman. I think that she's her daughter has just been found dead, so that is obviously darker themes as well, but I don't know how it's handled in this, but it might be a bit weird, so it might not actually be a kind of grief that makes you cry. I feel like there's some weird stuff that might go on in this book. I mean, there's the beekeeper of Aleppo, and this is 1,000% gonna make me cry, but I just don't know if I can handle that right now. I'm sort of putting this book off, if like I'm being perfectly honest. maybe make me cry, or will make me cry. This one is speaking to me the most right now. So on the back it says, a sister is not a friend, you're part of each other right from the start. Compelling, stunning exploration of sisterhood, a healing balm, unearthing tenderness from heartache. When I made it to the final page, I had tears in my eyes. Beautiful, blah blah blah. So I don't know whether this will or not, but there's a chance that this could do. I love the cover on this book as well. It's absolutely beautiful. So let's put the rest of these back up. So I do believe we're on our last prompt now. So let's pick. And the last one is a new author to me, that is. So I don't think that you'll be able to read any of the ones that I've just held up to you, because I'm sure they're all out of focus, but a new author, this gives me a lot of free rein, because other than Stephen King and Jane Austen, to be fair, this one as well, other than those, I think that this one as well, Blackwater, but other than that, there's like 3 or 4 others. I know, actually. Yeah, Daisy Yates, obviously that's the second in the series, so that one wouldn't count. Yeah, I have a lot of free rein on this one, so this is like almost a free pick. Okay, so there's a couple that I am thinking about. Parable of the Sower, once again. I've mentioned it a couple of times. I'm definitely very intrigued and excited to read that soon. Depending on, this is not actually the longest stack of books in terms of length, so I was gonna say we could go for My Name is Lucy Barton by Elizabeth Strout, because that's quite small, but I don't think we need to worry about the length of these books. We have Meet Me at the Surface by Jodie Matthews, which sounds really interesting. Ava Anna Ada, kind of off the wall, crazy, slightly mad narrator, I think. And then one from my summer TBR is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. And we do have Elena Knows again. So yeah, which one do I want to go with? Which one do I want to go with? This is so hard. Shall we do the first sentence again? Okay, so Ava Anna Ada by Ali Miller and Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. Let's read the first sentence. Okay. All that you touch, you change. This is immediately winning points for me, because this is a quote that is used in one of my favourite video game series, Rusty Lake. All that you touch, you change. Really interesting. So anyway, the real first sentence is, I had my recurring dream last night. I had my recurring dream last night. Very short, quite interesting, not the most I'm currently reading ends with. Shadow and Bone was a sci-fi / fantasy pick, and Iris Murdoch Under the Net is my 5-star prediction.